Okay, as I said in the thumbnail, as you saw, Arcdroid, but no sparks. And it's true, I'm gonna do some Arcdroid content, but not cutting anything today. Yellow Meadow Driver, he's a commenter on the forum here, or on these videos. He received his Arcdroid recently, and he noticed that the date, he set the date in it and turned it off, turn it back on, and then the date wouldn't stay. It would go back to 2000. So I checked on mine, and I'm running one firmware back, and I have the same issue. You set the date to today's date and turn it off, turn it back on, it goes back to 2000. So he worked with Andrew, and apparently the latest firmware update fixes that. So we're going to update the firmware and verify that that happens and that it's fixed. The other thing I want to do is see, what's the name? Matt San 70 had a comment that the sign that I made, the forestry sign that I made in the last video, I had to cut it into two pieces because the drawing that I made in Inkscape was too large to load into, the DXF was too large to load into the Arcdroid directly. So he suggested that I use Sheetcam. Now I had installed Sheetcam way back when I first got the Arcdroid, and I didn't buy a license. I wasn't sure if I needed it because people like me were saying you can just go directly from Inkscape to the Arcdroid. So as long as it's a simple drawing, that's true. So anyway, Matt 70 suggests that take it into Sheetcam, generate the G-code there, and then you can upload the G-code to the Arcdroid, and I should be able to get the whole sign in there. So I'm not going to cut the sign again because I have no use for it, but it'll be a good example for this. So we'll take the existing drawing that I did, try to load it, and we'll see it error. I know that's for a fact. Then I'll take it into Sheetcam, and then we'll generate the G-code and load the G-code and make sure that the full drawing comes up on the screen on the Arcdroid. So I won't cut it again because I don't need it again, but just to see if that's a valid step. And I've been pretty proud of the fact that this is a 10-year-old laptop running Linux Mint, and I use Inkscape, which is free. I use Shotcut, which is the video editor, which is free. And then Sheetcam came along and I've spent some money. So Sheetcam costs like $125, I think. It's sold in British pounds, but I think it converts to a little over $100. So I paid for a license on that just to see if it works. If it'll allow me to not have to break up the drawings and be able to load a much more complicated drawing. Not to mention, I'm by no means an expert in Sheetcam. I've just been playing with it for a couple of days, but it gives you so much more control over the cut. You can tell it to distribute the cuts to minimize thermal impact to the item, so you're not going to warp things. It allows you to move where it starts the cut, so it does give you a whole lot more control. I mean, some of that stuff you can do in the Arcdroid, but this gives you way more control. So I'll probably will start using it more, so I don't mind paying for it. But it does ruin my point of pride that I have been doing all this with free software. So anyway, on a 10-year-old laptop of all things. Anyway, we'll get started. I've downloaded the files from Arcdroid CNC, the website, and got them unzipped to my thumb drive. So let's see what that does. All right, so I kind of got this set up so you can look over my shoulder. Hopefully I won't kick the tripod when I turn the Arcdroid on and off because I have to move over there to do it. But so let me do that first. Start clean. So turn off the Arcdroid. Turn it back on. And as you can see, the date's 2000. If I set that 2024, it takes it. I'll exit here. Now turn off the Arcdroid. Turn it back on. check 2000, so that's not ideal. So if we go to the version info, I don't know if you can see that very well. Yeah, I guess you can see it. So the files we need to update. So one of them is up to date already. This up here is the system firmware, the one you do on the little micro SD card. That's the latest version already installed, so I don't have to update that. But you can see here 2023 1110B is an older firmware than what's currently available. The firmware I'm installing is, what is it? 2023 12.7A, so December 7th. And the only thing on this drive, thumb drive, is the contents of the zip file. So tap anywhere to exit, back, exit. I put the thumb drive in. I'm going to turn off the Arcdroid, turn it back on. We should see it updating. Okay, turn it back on. Red screen, so it's going to do its update. So this is where I insert the Jeopardy music or something. Okay, here it goes. It's pretty quick. All right, we're back up. So I'm going to take the thumb drive out so we don't do it again. And I'm going to power cycle it. Power off. Power back on. And the version we should see now, if we go look at the version, is hit Arcdroid 5 times, version info. We should see 12.7A, and that's what we see. So it's been updated. Type anywhere to exit, or tap anywhere to exit, back. Let's change the date. 2024, enter, enter. So we got 2024. If I come back into it, it's still 2024. All right, let's power cycle it again and see if we fixed it. Well, see if Andrew fixed it. All we did is apply the firmware. Coming back up. And it's not fixed. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but that's not what I expected to see. 2024, exit. Still 2024. Power cycle it again and see what happens. Didn't do it. Maybe I do need to do the other firmware, although I think the version's right. Well, let's do that. I got ahead of myself. I put the firmware that goes on for the main unit, that goes on the micro SD card, on this micro SD card, and stuck it in, and then I turned it off. So what we're going to see here is I'm going to turn the power back on, and we should see it update. And this usually goes really fast. I think that's it. Let's check the version. I think it's the same. At least they're both updated. Alright, anywhere exit, back, exit. Huh. And it's kind of locked up. Turn it off. Okay, I got the micro SD card back out. And I'll turn it back on. Let's try the date again. So I was holding the date. I'll turn it off. If this doesn't work, I'm not going to spend much more time on it because it really hasn't affected me. Other than maybe file names, I'm not sure what the date is used for, but it is obviously not sticking, so it's not saving that. So maybe yellow metal driver is fixed, but mine isn't. So, and again, I'm not too concerned about that. Actual functionality is much more important to me than the date. I mean, it should retain the date, but it apparently isn't. So on to other things. Okay, so just a reminder what we're doing here. I'm doing a screen capture so you can see what I'm doing, but I'm going to open up Inkscape, and we're going to load the drawing. It should still be on here. Forest Stewards, open, just so you can see it. And if I go to the nodes, you can see there's a ton of stuff on there. And that file won't load into the Arcdroid directly. I mean, I can clean this up, and I did try cleaning up and loading it, but it even cleaned up, I had to split it. So I had to split the words to be separate from the pine cone and the needles. So for this experiment, what I'm going to do is copy that same file that we see here in Inkscape. I'm going to copy that one to the thumb drive, and we'll try to load it in the Arcdroid so you can see that. But I also want to take that same file and let's use Sheetcam. So this is the experiment, Sheetcam. I'm going to open, now I'm not an expert at Sheetcam, I'm very new to Sheetcam. What I'm going to do is import a drawing. I'm going to point it to that Master Forest Stewards DXF and open it. Please leave a comment if I'm doing stuff wrong, but I think this will show what the power of this thing, and I've got a long ways to go to harness all that power. But so I'm going to load that drawing, and there it is. And some of the stuff you can do is pretty cool as far as changing the order. If you click this start points, you can change. Oh wait, first thing I got to do, like I said, I'm new to this. Got to set up an operation. So it'll be jet cutting, which is plasma. I have a plasma cutter set up in here. The kerf is set to 0 just to prevent errors because the Arcdroid kerf is going to override that value anyway. And so yeah, I think this is all I need to do. So I have an operation set, and you can see the cut order. And now if I wanted to change where this starts, I can say, okay, I want this one to start here. I want this one to start here, because sometimes it matters. Like in these letters, if you were going to have your lead in burn, like right there, might not be a good place to do it. Might not be a good place to do it at all. But so you can change where the lead in is. You can also go to properties and tell this thing, don't do the lead in, lead out. So for that particular one, the M isn't going to have a lead in now. So that's some of the stuff you can do. The reason the main point of this experiment anyway, I'm going to zoom back out, is when I try to load the full file into the Arcdroid, the Arcdroid it's too large of a file for the Arcdroid to load. So it can't even load it to convert it to G-code. The advantage here is we can run the post processor, and this is the Arcdroid post processor. I'm just going to have it stick it on the desktop. It's going to make G-code, save, and post processing completed. So I should see, well, this is the actual G code down here. And there should now be a file, Master Forest Stewards G code on the desktop. So I'm going to copy that one and stick it on my USB drive. And I'm also going to go grab, everything's a mess. I need to get this organized. Master Forest Stewards. So I have various versions in here. DXF. Copy that one. So now I have the DXF version and I have the G-code version. So what we expect to see is the Arcdroid won't be able to load the DXF, so it can't create the G-code, but it will be able to load the G-code, and we should have the full file on the Arcdroid. So let's see what happens when we do that. So I'm done with the screenshot or the screen capture, and we're going to move over to the Arcdroid itself. So be right back. Okay, I'm back. The Arcdroid, back on the Arcdroid and off of the computer. I'm going to plug in the USB drive, thumb drive. Make sure you're still on the screen. And we're going to load. So the first file I'm going to try to load. Crap, it wants to home before it'll load. Let me move the arm so it can home. It's off the screen homing right now. I know that's not riveting a YouTube video, but hopefully the YouTube masters will forgive me. So now I can load this file. So we have the G-code file and the Master Forest Stewards DXF file. So we'll try to load that. Shocker, DXF is too big. Stopped on line 3968. So roughly not even halfway loaded. Okay, load, clear. Let's try to load the G-code. File too big, still too big. So like I said, so I guess it's not a get out of jail free. It loads quite a bit though. Interesting that it shows it. Let me grab the one that I simplified. As I said, Inkscape, when it traces a bitmap, it puts a lot of extra points in there. So you can usually delete roughly half of them to simplify the drawing. So let me grab the simplified full drawing, and we'll try to load that. Which it can't. I'll grab the simplified full drawing, and then I'll convert to G code the simplified full drawing, and we'll see if it'll load those two. Be right back. Alright, I'm back. So now we should have 4 files. So we have the less nodes version. So we're going to try to load the Master Forest Stewards less nodes DXF, which I did try that the other day and it didn't load, so I expect the same thing. I got farther, but still failure. So it would suck if if this fails. Clear. Less nodes G code. It also failed. File too big. Well, shoot. 2 failures and no answers on that one. I still think there's some value to it, but maybe the file that I was doing is not a good example because it's just too many points. I don't know. Wow. It's not what I expected, but hey, not cheating anything here. You saw the failure. Leave some comments if you think I did something wrong or if you know what I did wrong. So I'm happy to see the Sheetcam stuff even loading. So the G code that it's generating is legit, it's just too big. So I guess a little more research on that, and I didn't teach anybody anything today. Well, that's not the video I thought I was shooting today. I was shooting for some really cool stuff. I was gonna fix the date issue on the Arcdroid. I did update the firmware, but it didn't seem to fix the issue on my machine. So again, I'm not too concerned about it. I don't know what the date's used for, but it doesn't affect anything I'm doing. I mean, it should be fixed, but again, I don't care. And then I was gonna demo how Sheetcam fixes all my problems for my very complicated Master Forester sign that I made last video. That didn't work. Again, I may not be using Sheetcam fully to its potential. Maybe I still need to simplify that drawing even further. I mean, I was still able to cut it by splitting it in half, so there's a way to do it, and that's the way, I mean, I would probably still do it, although I think I'm gonna add Sheetcam to my process, even on simpler signs, because it does give you more control for cut order and all those types of things. So I'm gonna add it to my process. It just didn't appear to be the answer to the giant ass sign, Idaho Master Forest Steward sign. So anyway, so I guess not everything's always a full success, but the Arcdroid's still working. I can still do what I need to do. And I got a Christmas present for my daughter. She has a cutter that she cuts out vinyl and makes shirts and stuff. So I got a new logo that she designed, I guess, on my hoodie. But I don't know if anything looks any better with me on the screen, but I updated the lighting. So other work I do that's not on the channel, I updated the lighting in the official 6.8 liter studios, my shop light in my garage. But had a couple shop lights die on the car side, so I took that as an excuse to buy several new lights, and so now I got 4 lights on this side of the garage, and hopefully it looks better. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. Hopefully somebody got something out of that, even though kind of multiple failures. But please comment below. Let me know if you see something I did obviously wrong. And if you're interested in watching more of this, please like and subscribe. It all helps out. And thanks for watching.